typically at the next bite, when we're doing walleye shows, we're fishing Green Bay, we're fishing Lake Erie, the big bodies of water with the big fish. But we're down here in Kemos land with my buddy, Strike King Pro Tom Kemos, and we're actually in Waukesha County. And there's a few lakes down here you like to fish. Pewaukee, Oconomowoc, Pine, there's some nice ones.
Oh yeah.
And you get an opportunity to fish for walleyes on these lakes in the fall, which is where we are right now. So I'm gonna go out there with Tom. We're gonna pick his brain on what he likes to do on these bodies of water. They're deep bodies of water, so it should be pretty cool to see what's going on. And we're gonna show you the next bite.
Just looking for the next bite, next bite, next bite, next bite. Just looking for the next bite.
It is amazing the complexities you can find when patterning walleyes in your own home waters.
There's a thermocline, Tom.
Just because a lake is small doesn't mean that the fish are too.
There he is.
Oh, you got him, Tom?
Yeah. Oh man.
At the same time, the inverse of this, when it comes to more easily locating and triggering fish, just because a lake is small, is also not necessarily true.
And you just have to picture that fish swimming up behind it, you know.
These things fight so hard on these lures. I mean, it's so much fun.
I think he's getting close. I can't see. There he is.
There we go.
Because a lot of things change in the fall besides the leaves.
Not the longest thing, but
No, you know
wow,
what?
it's fat.
You know how chunky that fish is. But you know what? I mean, this time of year, that's what these fish are doing. They're bulking up, you know. Nice little guy.
See if we can find a bigger one than that, though.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do better than that.
Yeah, I'd say.
You know, pre-turnover is a great time of the fall to fish for walleyes. What I like about it, especially on lakes such as the ones that we've been fishing here, is the fact that you have a real solid thermocline setup. What that thermocline does, it actually eliminates a bunch of water in the lake because the walleyes will almost always be at or above that thermocline due to the temperature change. But one thing that's really important to look out for, and we actually ran into it, is that if that lake turns over, typically that period of about a week or so post-turnover is very stressful on the fish, and the fishing can be tough, which we experienced. We got out on the first lake and we fished around to some of my better spots. We only caught a few fish, and that's when I realized that I wasn't seeing that thermocline anymore and that the lake had flipped. So what we actually did, rather than fight it, we switched lakes and came to a lake that had the thermocline set up, and we were able to have a real successful day on the water. There he is,
Oh, you
Chase.
got one, Tom?
Oh yeah,
It looks
nice.
pretty good, too.
Oh, nice fish.
That was kind of crazy because I just missed one on like 2 lifts before that.
Pretty nice fish.
Oh,
Yeah!
That's
Nice.
a nice fish.
Oh man, that was so awesome. That thing absolutely destroyed it too. Holy
The crazy
cats.
thing was you just looked up at me because I'm like, oh, because I set the hook and I missed mine. Well, obviously you must be a little bit better at hooking them.
Yep, face full of shiver minnow. That was crazy. You know, it's interesting with these baits. I mean, when you fish them a lot, you almost can feel when those fish are kind of following it, because you can feel them pushing along.
Yeah, they bump it.
And it's like, you just get this sense like you're going to get bit, and all of a sudden, bonk. That's
pretty
awesome.
Cool. That's a nice fish.
Yeah,
man.
that's a decent fish.
I
you
mean,
bet.
this lake, you're telling me about it, it's small. I mean, it's a lot smaller than what we're used to fishing, but right next to your house, you're a pretty lucky guy to have something like this around
And
you.
I've grown up fishing these lakes, and I can tell you that since I've kind of incorporated the old shiver minnow, I mean, this fall bite has turned into a riot. Let's get this one back.
Yep.
Oh, there he goes.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury, #1 on the water. Amsoil, performance for serious adventure. Tracker Boats, Fish the Finest. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. Berkley, catch more fish. And MotorGuide, trolling motors engineered for anglers. Closed captioning for the next bite is provided by PowerPole, the ultimate in shallow water anchors.
Even though this lake's small in size, one thing it has a lot of is very good structure, especially for fall fishing like this. You can actually see, I got the GPS here, you can see the contour lines, and as I zoom in, you can really see the detail. And there's some very sharp breaks on these structure areas that we're fishing, and that's really what we're looking for. What we're doing is we're going into these sunken islands, the humps, the points with those sharp breaks where there's a lot of deep water close to it. This lake goes down to 60 feet and it's not very big, so it was really kind of surprising to me the deep water we have, but that's great for fall fishing. And you can see this sunken island right here. We basically just went around the edge graphing for some fish that might be sitting off those breaks in the flat, but we're really working these wind-blown sides of these structure areas. You can see right here on the trail, we're going back and forth and we're casting up onto these structures and working these shiver minnows down all the way to the flat. And these fish throughout the day can go up and down on those areas, so you might catch some off the structure and you might catch some right up by the weed edge near the top of that break as well too. And that's the beauty of casting these shivers, is you can cover all those depths on the same cast. So what you want to do at this time of year on lakes such as this, I mean there's a lot of different lakes that you can catch a lot of fish in the fall, but those sharp breaks with those structure areas are very key to look at because they're going to hold the most fish throughout the day.
Using a lure like a Shiver Minnow is allowing Chase and Tom to work the entire break easily.
Really crushed it.
Which is good since the walleyes are biting at all of the varying depths of the breaks.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, there we go.
Nice fish, Tom.
This leaves them being able to focus on other considerations like cadences.
Go ahead and grab him. It's a good place for him to get off though, for sure. That's a nice fish.
That's a nice fish. Heck yeah. You know, it's crazy. I know we keep repeating ourselves, but it's so cool with these baits. You can feel that fish coming up, and all I felt was just a tiny little tick, and I let that bait crack down on the bottom, and I just paused it, and the next time, as soon as I lifted it, just boom, it jumped all over it.
When Chase and Tom find a new school of walleyes, they will stay and work it, picking off the hottest bites. But as soon as things slow down, it's time to move to a new area to avoid grinding down the spot, because on a small body of water, simply saving these spots for later can mean getting more mileage out of the same breaks without switching lakes as often.
Oh, Tom, there's one. Oh, it feels pretty good too. Looks like a good one. Yeah, it's a pretty good fish. Oh yeah, there he is. Good fish. Yeah. Man,
Nice fish.
it is. That was one of those. That was one of those too, and I think you saw it. It was one where I let it sit on the bottom, and he was just there. So I set the hook, and I'll admit it, I had to give it a second before I was positive that I had one.
I actually had to check it a little bit for you too there. But.
Yeah, we might need the pliers
that
on
one
this
wasn't
one,
coming
man.
off,
Yeah,
was it?
oh, I got one right here, Tom. Oh. Yeah, buried right in the corner of the mouth there. There we go. That's a good fish.
Nice.
Oh, it is so much fun too. And we're like the only ones on the lake.
Yeah, we have this whole lake all to ourselves today.
Let's get this one back. There we go. Oh, little buddy. Oh yeah.
The Real Deal, real fishing information from real fishing experts, presented by Amsoil.
I require two completely different kinds of performances from the engines on my walleye boat. You know, on that big engine, what I need is good low-end torque so I can get up out of the hole and I can run down those rough water raves and accelerate and back off. I also need the good high-end speed so I can rip across the lake and get out to my spot really fast. On the converse side, with this kicker engine, I need low-end performance. I use this kicker to idle really slow when I'm trolling crankbaits, or even slower yet with spinners out there. And that low-end performance is actually harder to maintain than that high-end performance, and I'll tell you why. Inside of this kicker is a lot of little ports and injectors and fuel lines, very small areas the gas has got to flow through, and if you get any kind of gumming, you're going to have a problem with that low-end idling. And with today's gas and the ethanol, that ethanol wants to separate any water that's in the gas, and that's what causes the gumming. In fact, I was talking to a tech rep, and he said after just 2 weeks of an engine sitting still, you're going to have gumming. So what you want to do is actually add a conditioner to your engine, or to the gas for this engine, to keep that low-end performance running really well. And what I use is something called Quick Shot. And I've used this a lot of years. The nice thing about Quick Shot is there's two different stages in an engine that you can actually use this. First of all, if you have an engine that's just running rough, maybe it's already started to gum up, it hasn't completely clogged up though, you can add in Quick Shot. There's actually a little calibration on the side here that says clean up, and you can add in that much to your tank, and you're going to find out that it will actually help clean up that gumming, and you might not have to take that thing and have it maintained. This stuff will probably just clean it up if it's not too severe. For me, when I get a new engine, what I like to do is just right away start adding in the continued protection amount of Quick Shot, and that way I never have an issue. I never get that gumming. Now, for both of those, a real good thing though to have is a separate tank. You know, like on my big boat, I have a built-in separate tank. I can just add the Quick Shot for my little engine. If you don't have a separate tank, I highly suggest just getting the good old red cans and adding this stuff in and running that through your kicker so you can keep that good low-end speed running nice and smooth. So for a big engine, you got high-end performance. For these little engines, you need the low-end performance. To keep that low-end performance running good and slow, Quick Shot is my friend.
In fishing with the Shiver Minnows, it's really important to pay attention to your cadence. A lot of times when we get on the water, I'll keep making adjustments and changing my cadence until the fish basically tell me what they want. Typically in the summer when the water's a little bit warmer, I like to fish it quite a bit more aggressively so that I get that walking the dog action, and the more aggressive pumps that you give the rod, the farther that bait will shoot from side to side. This time of year, however, in the cooler water period, I'm just going to give that rod tip just short pops. I just want that bait to just real slowly shoot from side to side, compared to, you know, in the warmer months when we want a real aggressive action on that bait. There he is, Chase.
You got him?
Yep. Yeah, he's getting a little smaller, Chase.
There
you go. Oh man, that fish just freight trained it. It's not real big, but he's got a lot of heart, that's for sure. Nice.
We're just kind of, this point sticks way out, and we're just kind of drifting. We were out in 50 feet, and you were must have just been up on the break with that cast when you got it.
Yeah, it was just, there's a little bit of weeds right on the edge of this, and like you say, it just drops right off. It's just a sheer wall, and just one snap, and that bait is shooting off, and right before it hit bottom, this thing cracked it. I popped it one more time, and it absolutely blew up on it.
I know you want to eat that one, Tom, but we're going to get that one back.
It's making my mouth water, but yeah. We'll let this one go and grow up a little bit. Actually, in this lake that we're in, there's an 18-inch size limit, so...
Oh, is there?
Yeah,
well,
this one wouldn't quite make the grade, but it's a good fish, though.
See, I don't know what I'm talking about then.
Well, you don't, but I need to do a better job of explaining things to you.
The gear that we're using today is really the same setup as what we'll use in the summer months when we're casting these Shiver Minnows. Obviously with that Shiver Minnow, we're putting that triple grip on, good hookups, but what we're looking for in a rod is something that's got very good backbone, and I'm using this Johnny Morris Carbon Light 6'8" extra fast action. So you got a nice flexible tip right there, so when you get those fish on, there's a little bit of forgiveness. In line, the same thing we'd use in the summer as well. What we have is about a 2 to 3 foot fluorocarbon 10 10-pound leader. That 100% trilene is what I like to use there, and that's connected to the main line of Fireline. I like to use Fireline in this situation, very durable around rocks, but I've figured out over the last few months here that this tracer color has been my go-to color in a lot of different applications, because what you have is you have 5 feet of smoke color to camouflage this whole setup even more. And then also in these casting applications, I like to be able to see that line, and you have 5 feet of flame green. You can actually see it on the spool. It looks pretty cool. So what you want to do is make sure you have a nice powerful rod with a nice fast tip. Use the super line so you can get that feel, and you can cast these #3 Shiver Minnows a mile to structure and catch a lot of walleyes on pretty much any body of water you want to.
The next bite is brought to you by Mercury, #1 on the water. Amsoil, performance for serious adventure. Tracker Boats, Fish the Finest. Bass Pro Shops, your adventure starts here. Berkley, catch more fish. Mustad, stay sharper longer. Lowrance, find, navigate, dominate. MotorGuide, trolling motors engineered for anglers. Strike King, legacy of domination for 50 years. And PowerPole, swift, silent, secure. Hot topics, leading information, and tackle and techniques to make you a better angler. Presented by Mercury.
I think we'd all agree that one of the most important things about a good jig is to have a super sharp hook. I argue, though, that one of the other important attributes of a good hook on a jig is that that sharpness stays. Let's say I cast out my rod, I get a snag, I pop it off, and I bring it back into the boat. Test that hook point, it better be sharp. And unfortunately, a lot of jigs disappoint me there. You bring them back in, and the jig will be dull or the tip will be turned over. That's one of the reasons why I've always loved Mustad's Ultra Point technology. Not only are those hooks super sharp out of the package, but they just don't get dull when you're getting snagged. And I've always wanted a hook like that in a good jig. Well, I'm here to tell you that this is a new jig. It's one of the elite series of jigs that Mustad just came out with their own Ultra Point hooks, which is phenomenal because it gives you those same 2 sharpness attributes and that long-lasting sharpness. They come in many different varieties, from saltwater to bass to crappies to walleyes. They work with their pros to build the ultimate jigs. We're looking at a jig that has a good solid epoxy finish. It won't chip, but again, the blood and soul, heart and soul of this jig is its sharp Ultra Point technology. One of the other things I really like about these jigs is they come in so many different sizes and colors. This is the round ball version. The round ball heads are exactly like the walleye series, except for they're just solid colors. The walleye series, they've got a lot of neat colors. I don't have all of them here, but they've got a lot of good walleye fish catching colors. But more importantly to me than all of that is the hook and then the sizes. The walleye jigs come from 16th ounce all the way up to half-ounce sizes, including the hard-to-find 3/16 ounce size. So if you're trying to match the right wind conditions and current conditions, Mustad's got you covered there.
With the majority of walleyes biting higher up on the breaks of these Waukesha County area lakes, sometimes the action is almost over before Chase or Tom can even grab a net.
There must be a hot school right there. I mean, it was crazy. I cast out, and that thing went down about 5 foot, and all of a sudden, bonk.
I saw you. You didn't even lift the rod yet.
The weed edges can be a major point of interest for walleyes, even though the breaks themselves may ultimately go as deep as 60 feet.
Nice fish.
Well, they have visited a few area lakes, looking for the right combinations of water temperature, depths, and structure for this fall shivering pattern. Extending the life of the bite on the water you are currently on has been an important factor for truly getting to the bottom of all of what these small, deep lakes really have to offer.
You know, we're fishing a heavily pressured lake here, and one tip that I think is real important that I've learned over the years growing up in this area is that because these lakes get such heavy boat traffic and fishing pressure, the fish won't let you step on them real hard. So it's important when you move on to a spot like this, try to pick the hot fish off off and then move on to another spot. It doesn't pay to sit there and try to grind out another bite. The best thing to do is move on to the next spot and let those fish recuperate. Give them a half hour, 45 minutes. A lot of times you can come right back and pick 1 or 2 hot fish off.
Oh, he's right there.
Oh yeah.
Get back.
This is a good one here, buddy. Big fish.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
that would
This
be
is a
pretty
big
close to the boat, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? He is staying down, isn't he?
Oh yeah. Nice.
Boy, it doesn't want to come up, does
No,
it?
it's staying down. This
Oh,
is
yeah,
a good fish. Here it comes.
It's a good walleye, man. There we go. Nice fish.
Nice nut job.
Oh, man.
That's a good fish.
Yeah, that one hit. I mean, by the time I was back here, it was right here,
Yeah.
but it didn't want to come up. I mean, it must have hit real close to the boat.
No, it actually was only about 15 foot out. I brought, that one was out, actually out off of the break a little bit more. And I just, same thing again, I killed it. Gave it a couple more pops, but this one, when it hit, the line just went slack and it just started swimming at me real fast.
I need a pliers on that
yeah,
one.
we're gonna need a pliers on that one.
Should have known he's got one on his belt.
Yeah, always. There we go.
That's a good fish.
Oh yeah. Oh,
Healthy,
man.
too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a riot. Look at him. Nice fish.
Awesome, man.
Let's go get another one, huh? Oh, why did I open my mouth?
Yep.
That just cost me $10.
Yes, it did. Yeah, there's a thermocline, Tom.
I might have snagged a dead cow here. What is it? I see it down there. You see that?
What in the world? You got an umbrella?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking
It's
about.
a golf umbrella. It's a nice umbrella.
It's a
Tom.
stingray.
Look at this stingray.
It's a stingray. Well, at least you don't need to get Heidi anything for Christmas this year now.
For more articles, tips, tricks, and videos on fishing for fish with teeth, visit www.thenextbite.tv.